Hi, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today. Don't touch that dial. On today's show, we have Gina Mills, Kim Rush, and Stacy Parks. You're not going to want to miss this.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
And today we have the wonderful Miss Gina Mills. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Lowell. Thank you for having me.
Well, sure. You know, well, sometimes it's like twisting an arm to get you on the show. But every time you come on, it is wonderful. Now, you are our Disability Support Services Coordinator.
That is correct.
And you've been doing this for how long now?
4.5 years,
wow.
Maybe.
It's gone by really quickly.
Very fast.
So what exactly do you do? What does your job entail?
Okay, what it entails is working with any student that has disability.
Okay.
So, you know, it's very easy for us to see students that have physical disabilities, be it if they're in a wheelchair, legally blind, whatever. Those are very easy to know, well, that student's going to need some assistance, some accommodations. We also have disabilities that we can't see. You know, we may have students who are dealing with ADHD, PTSD. So there are those disabilities that we can't see, but whichever physical, unseen disabilities, I would coordinate with that student, and we would come up with reasonable accommodations that would help them, you know, have as equal opportunity of education as a student without a disability.
Now, I think the key word in there is reasonable accommodations. Now, this is different from K through 12.
Very
Am I correct?
different. You are correct.
How is it different?
All right, in K through 12, number one, a big factor is that those students do not have to self-identify. When you're in post-secondary and collegiate courses, you do have to self-identify, meaning the student has to come to me. You know, in K through 12, there's a referral by the teacher, so the student never has to self-identify. So that's one big difference. Another is in K through 12, you can modify curriculum to a certain extent. Post-secondary, we do not modify curriculum. Yeah. So that's what makes the term reasonable come into play, because it's deemed unreasonable if we have to start making any modification to curriculum. Okay. So, you know, for example, if it was an ADN course, we definitely couldn't modify that because students have to be able to pass off certain skills. So if they were visually impaired, maybe they could not see to start an IV or something, well, that would be a critical skill that they would have to pass off for nursing. Okay. So that's what we mean when we say they're reasonable accommodations. They're accommodating, not making any modifications.
Now, I know that the information is out there for students to self-identify, but what do they need to do? They need to come and see you, they need to call you, they need to email you. What do they need to do to self-identify?
They can. There is information on our website. Okay. They want to come, you know, meet with me face-to-face. I'm in Reed Hall, room 123. Then if they need to call me, they can contact me at 601-484-8777. And my email address is gmills@meridiancc.edu.
Now, what kind of information do they have to bring to you to be able to receive accommodations?
Okay, I have to have documentation of disability.
Okay, you can't just walk in and say, I'm ADHD.
No.
Okay.
So I have a certain form that has to be completed by the treating specialist, whomever that is. Mm-hmm. For example, ADHD. If they're diagnosed with ADHD and they take medication for that, then that is the person, whoever's prescribing that medication or who administered the test would be the person they would want to fill out the form.
How recent does it have to be?
It needs to be within the last 3 years.
Okay.
If it dates back further than that, then They're going to have retesting done.
Okay.
So yeah.
So bringing in from the doctor begins the process. Is there anything else as far as documentation that they have to bring to you?
No, all their documentation that is needed would come from their treating specialist. Now, I can work with an IEP, an individualized educational plan, that is given to the student who received accommodations K through 12.
Okay.
So usually spring, they'll have an exit interview with the IEP, and the student or parent will get a copy, and they can bring that, and we can start with that as well.
Okay.
It just is, you know, as each disability is individual and a case by case. The documentation needed for disabilities are also kind of case by case.
Well, if someone needs accommodations, how long does the process take to get the information to their teachers for them to receive it? I mean, are we talking like, is it immediate? Are we talking a couple of weeks, a couple of months?
Once I receive the documentation needed, which usually that's the lengthy part of it,
Okay.
maybe that could take 1 to 2 weeks for that student to be able to get that paperwork from those specialists. But once I get that paperwork, then I will sit down with the student, we discuss the accommodations that have been recommended, then we fill out a form. The accommodation forms are semester specific as well as course specific. So we would make an accommodation form for every class they're enrolled in, send it to the instructors. The information I receive on their diagnosis is very confidential. On the form, there will not be any diagnosis. It will simply read the accommodations are necessary for the student. And so that information is kept locked in my office.
Okay.
So, you know, working with students, sometimes they don't feel comfortable coming because, you know, it's K through 12, maybe they were made fun of, whatever. It's so not that way.
No, it
in
isn't.
post-secondary, I try to tell them,
Yeah.
if you just look out when classes are, you know, they're changing classes, everyone's just going everywhere.
Sure.
And that's kind of the way it is with testing.
Well, the reason I wanted to ask about the length of time was, you know, someone can't just walk in and say, oh, I have a test Friday, I need some accommodations.
Yes, thank you.
I
No.
mean, it doesn't work like that.
It's a two-day work day.
Okay.
So if today, Thursday, if they brought paperwork in, we completed accommodations, then that would be Friday, Monday, and the accommodations would be effective on Tuesday.
Okay.
We have to give instructors time to be able
Yes.
to go into Canvas, add that extra time, or you know, whatever the accommodation is, we have to give them time to get it prepared.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask next. What kind of accommodations are we talking about here?
Okay, let's talk about testing.
Okay.
So, again, let's just go back to, well, I'll use visually impaired. A visually impaired student usually gets double test time, and then they would have a separate testing area with a reader.
Okay.
Let's just say ADHD. They normally have extended test time, time plus 1/2, separate testing area, but not necessarily a reader. They would test in their own individual testing room down at e-learning. And Bethany Bratu is our proctor,
Yes.
does a phenomenal job. She is responsible for scheduling all testers.
Okay, would you give your information one more time?
Sure, absolutely.
And, because it's very important if you need these accommodations to take advantage of this.
I
Okay.
will, and one more thing
Yes.
I'd like to add is also we offer the 4 free counseling sessions.
Okay.
We know
Yes.
everyone's been dealt life, most everyone we could assume, and sometimes they just need a person to go speak with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a professional counselor. I'm a great listener, but I can't counsel.
Right.
So if they wanted to speak with a professional, they could call me or come see me. I can help them get that appointment set up with either Weems or Psychology Associates, and they get 4 free counseling sessions.
Excellent.
And the year starts the date they go for that first counseling
Okay.
session.
Excellent.
So, and if
So-
you need that information,
Yes.
you can call me at 601-484-8777 or email me at gmills@meridiancc.edu.
I want to have you on later on in the semester so we can talk more about this, but thank you for being on
Okay,
today.
thank you, Lowell. I appreciate you having me.
We'll be right back.
Since 1996, the MCC Foundation Tuition Guarantee Program has provided students an opportunity to find their potential. Thousands of students have benefited from the program. Over $6 million have been invested in the students who learn and live right here in our community. This program is funded by individuals and businesses who believe in our students, our families, and the economic impact of an education at Meridian Community College. Now is your chance to offer support. Give today at meridiancc.edu/give.
And we are back, and we have the wonderful Miss Stacy Parks. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Lowell?
I'm doing well. Now, I've known you many, many years. And you are our QEP and Assessment Coordinator.
Yes.
A lot of letters.
Sure.
Okay, what does that mean?
Okay, so the QEP part is I'm the QEP writer.
Okay.
And I will talk more about that. And assessments, I help our faculty, our division chairs with writing student learning outcomes, writing their unit plans. We all have plans to improve student learning, and we all put that into a software program, so I help them learn that software program as well.
You actually helped me over the summer with
I
it.
did,
So,
a little
yes.
bit.
Now, QEP means Quality Enhancement Plan,
Yes.
right? And we have, I think most community colleges or most people who are seeking accreditation
Right.
have to do this process.
That's correct.
Okay, and the accreditation has to do with us getting federal funds and very important things like that, right?
Right,
So
that's true.
so it's important that we're part of this process, and we've just completed one QEP,
Right.
and we're already starting another one. Now, the last QEP was computer connections.
That's correct.
And so, what is this quality enhancement plan?
So this one is going to be mentoring.
Okay.
So it was quite a process to get to that point. We had committees that were formed. We did a lot of research. We sent out lots of surveys.
So it's not just something that we're like, oh, let's do this one.
Right. So
Okay.
it's not something that we decide, as a committee or as an individual even. We get a lot of what we call broad-based input from all of the college stakeholders. So you probably remember getting a survey a while back. And so that same survey was sent to students, and it was sent to alumni and all of our community members, and just tons of people received that. We wanted everyone's feedback.
So the process to actually begin the new QEP, which is where we are now, this has been something that has been going on for a number of months.
Right. So fall 2019.
Is when you started
That's
this.
when those committees were formed, and we started sending out in spring 2020 what we call the call for proposals.
Okay.
So we sent those call for proposals out, and that's where we sent it to all college stakeholders, and it was not multiple choice, it was wide open. They could type in anything they wanted to that they thought would, the QEP, as you know, is designed to improve student learning and or success. So we just said, please tell us something you think would improve student learning or success on our campus. And we received hundreds of responses, and then those committees went through those responses to find the commonalities and see what's kind of like the most popular choices, and then we researched those. So we had a research committee. They did a lot of good work for us, and they had to research those topics to see which one would really help our students the most. So they kind of just narrowed down. They just narrowed down until they got to two. And then we did a vote, what we call the big vote. So everyone got to choose between one of the two.
And so now we have mentoring.
And
So
mentoring was selected.
What will we be doing as far as
Yes.
mentoring is concerned?
So historically at this college, when a student, or most colleges are like this, when you meet with your advisor, they help you make your schedule, or they help you, if you need to add a class to your schedule or drop a class. So we decided to take it a step further and have our advisors also be mentors to students.
Okay.
So a lot of times students don't get to form relationships because they just see those advisors kind of briefly, and there's all this amazing research out there that says if students will form relationships with this person on campus, that they are much more likely to be successful. And that's what we want, right? We want all of our students to be successful. We want them to achieve their goal, whatever that goal may be, if it's to graduate and go to a university, or if it's just to achieve a 2-year degree, or we want to help them with their goals. And so instead of just being what we call a schedule maker,
Right.
we want them to do so much more than that. So now the student will be seeing these advisors multiple times throughout their career here. So they're going to help them with a variety of things.
Sure.
Like a student could come in and say, I don't even know what to major in. And that advisor / mentor could connect them to so many things that would help them decide what maybe would be their major, or what we call, what program of study that they
definitely
should
narrow down.
Right,
Okay.
what their program of study should be here, because we'll lead them to the right career. They could help them. Maybe they have some type of what we call a barrier to success. Maybe they couldn't afford their books or something like that, and that mentor could say, "Oh, well, we have this resource available. We have a book loan program." And a lot of students just aren't aware of all the amazing resources we have, especially new students. You
Sure.
remember when your first semester
I
in
knew
college,
nothing.
I didn't know
literally knew
any of
nothing.
these
I knew
amazing
nothing.
resources that we have. So one thing, math is hard, right? So we might have someone come into their mentor and say, "Math is hard, and I'm
Yes.
really struggling in college algebra, and I did not make a very good grade." And that mentor may say, "You know what, we have this amazing success center, and we have these math tutors." And as you know, tutoring improves success of students exponentially. So, and the student, okay, they may not even realize that there was a tutoring center on campus because they're new. So it's
And
just
also
a lot
with
of
the,
resources.
with someone with special needs, who
Yes.
that we have accommodations available.
Right.
Or and I believe this semester we've just started a computer loan program, a laptop loaner program. So we have a lot of resources because we want students to succeed, whatever that means for them. But we really want students to finish, and get a certificate or a degree of some kind to be able to help them go forward. Now, how long is this process, this QEP process? How long are we in this mentoring stage?
So we don't plan to ever come out of it, so
Okay,
to speak.
good.
A lot of,
Like we're still using the computer connection stuff.
right,
that
we still
did,
tutor
yes.
students in computer skills. So we just want to find a need that's not being met. That's how the quality enhancement plan was designed, to
Okay.
find a need that's not being met at your college and then meet that need. So we don't plan on ever changing it. We want to roll it into the usual way of doing things.
Well, you are the person who gets to accumulate all the data and write the reports.
Correct.
But you enjoy that, I think, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, it's loads of fun, but it's necessary because
is.
we've got to see how many are we actually helping? Are we doing what we say we or what we think we're doing?
Right.
And I think our quality enhancement plan really helps with that. So we are full force into this new mentoring.
We started
quality.
this semester.
Okay, and
Yes.
so it's still going to be a while before we actually kind of see results.
That's
because we're in the middle,
correct.
and sometimes you want results immediately.
Sure.
But we're not going. It's going to be a little bit
takes
of time
time.
before we see. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being on the show today and helping us understand what QEP is, because we're going to see this a lot
We
around campus,
are. We
and people will hear it a lot out in the community.
That's right.
But thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you for inviting me.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
And we have the wonderful Miss Kimberly Rush with us today.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Now, you
Good.
are the Director of Advising and Retention.
Yes,
Did I
sir.
get that
That's
right?
correct. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, first off, I owe you an apology, because this is the first week of school. And
Yes.
advising is happening. You were just saying we're seeing hundreds of people a
It
day.
is happening.
And I requested and just kind of made you come down to be a
Yes.
guest on the show.
Yes, but I love coming to see you. Though.
I know, and I
Yes.
appreciate that. I love
Yeah.
having you as a guest. But I wanted you specifically to talk about,
Yes.
even though school began Monday.
Correct.
This is the first week of school.
Yes.
You can still register.
Yes, you
Classes
can.
are still available.
They are still available.
So tell us what's out there.
Everything.
Okay.
Literally everything is out there. So campus classes are still available up until tomorrow's Friday, right?
Yes.
It's been a blur.
It is a
So
blur.
tomorrow's Friday up until tomorrow. We also have online classes that don't start until Monday.
This is true.
So those are literally wide open.
This is true.
We also have second intensive options I mean, we have classes a little available almost every month that start. So up until now, until the end of the semester. So it's not too late to register. You can still get advice, and you can still get full-time hours if you need to satisfy that for financial aid, getting into a program. We have lots and lots of options. So no one should feel that since I didn't do it by this time, that it's too late for me to get into classes. That's simply not true. We have lots of options still available.
Somehow this sounds like something that you've been telling students a lot.
Yes.
Not saying it sounded
Yes.
rote, but it sounds like you're like, okay, look, we got
Yes,
options.
definitely so. And so we're seeing students in our offices. Students are coming in to see us, make an appointment. Students are calling us. Students are emailing. So we have definitely lots of ways to be able to reach our students, to be able to get them into classes.
I am always so fascinated by how fast you talk.
Yes.
Have you always done this?
I have, and it's yes, I have.
Now, we have our regular so-called traditional classes
Correct.
in the classroom 2 days a week.
Correct.
Okay, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday.
Correct.
And we also have the online option for
Yes.
the full semester.
Correct, and those start August 23rd,
Okay.
and those end the first week in December.
Okay.
And that's quote unquote traditional, 15 weeks long.
And then we have the half semester
Correct.
classes that run 8 weeks
Correct.
each term.
Correct.
And they begin, the first term begins Monday as well.
Correct, and end I think the first week in October.
Okay.
And then the second intensive online option begins October 14th,
Okay.
and then it ends in December as well.
So you could literally begin, have a full term traditional, have like comp 1, comp 2.
Correct.
You can get so much
Yes,
accomplished.
yes.
And in addition to that, we have these intensive 4-week
Correct,
classes.
correct.
Okay, those are, so we do 4 terms
Yes.
per semester.
Yes.
And the first term begins Monday.
Correct.
And then we'll have 3 more.
Correct. Terms that literally begin every month, pretty
Okay.
much. And so a lot of students will choose that option. It's easier for them working from home, with families and things like that. So a lot of them students will do, comp 1 first intensive, comp 2 second intensive, or they'll do a history first intensive, and they'll do a college studies skills second intensive. And so
Okay.
a lot of students find it best to kind of do 2 at first and then 2 the next time, rather than having the whole full schedule of 15 weeks. We have lots and lots of options to feed the students' needs.
We do.
Yes.
And sometimes, and I don't mean to say it's too much, because it's not too much, but sometimes when you look at what's out there, you're like, wow. Because I tell students all the time, get a planner.
Yes.
Write down what you're in, when it
Yes,
meets,
yes.
what you're supposed to be doing,
Yes.
so that you make sure that you are doing everything for each class that you're in.
Correct. And
Especially because a million years ago when I was here, everything was traditional in the classroom.
Yes, you came in August, left in December.
Simple as that.
And the cool thing right now in the bookstore, planners are half off.
Oh, look at you.
There you go.
know even that.
Plug.
Now, if someone comes in and says, look, I have done nothing, they can still get in.
Yes, they
Okay.
can. And
so even as far as filling out financial aid, filling out,
Yes.
they can still get it all
Yes,
done.
Yes, they can. So, I mean, we are here to help our students. They can shoot an email to admissions@meridiancc.edu. If they haven't applied yet, they can go to meridiancc.edu in the top right corner, click apply. Once they apply, we will literally guide them. Okay, we have your application. We need your high school transcript. Every step of the way, they will get an email response on what their status is.
And they can usually, that application goes through very quickly.
Correct.
Its turnaround is with just a few days,
Correct,
isn't it?
correct. So we definitely still have time for everything.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So there is no reason you
No,
can't get in here.
none at all.
And we are starting this where we're doing kind of mentoring, where advisors are actually going to be really working with the students.
Correct.
Not that they didn't before,
Correct.
but it's kind of building a different kind of relationship.
And it's more intentional.
Sure.
It's definitely not just, okay, you have your schedule, this is what you want to do. Do you know how to do A, B, and C, D? It's actually going to the next step. Just
Okay.
making sure that you understand, what an online class actually entails. That you know what a campus class actually entails, that you actually do have to go to class. Our classes this semester are either Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and we're not doing the team A, team B thing anymore. You are going to class.
Right.
Do you understand how you're taking Comp 1 will lead you to your career path? And so it's definitely more intentional. It's also more intrusive. Okay, what barriers do you have at home that will prevent you from doing well in your classes? So it's not just, okay, you have a schedule, okay, let me know if you need any help, but let's talk about it ahead of time.
Sure.
Before those barriers present themselves, what do you have going on at home that would lead you to not do well? Do you have kids? Do you have work? Are you caring for someone who maybe has COVID? Whatever the case may be, let's talk about it on the front end and get a plan rather than it happening and not having a plan.
Well, you know, this is one of the basic things I talk about in the college study skills class is set yourself up for success.
Exactly.
What are the things that you need to do
Yes.
to make sure, and let's look at the past, at the stuff that didn't work,
Yes.
that maybe you're still doing.
Definitely.
And I always say, why are you still doing that?
Yes.
Why is that still an option when it has never worked for you?
And coming
then-
up with a plan on the front end rather than on the back end.
Yes.
It's so much easier when things are going well to have a plan just in case rather than things hit the fan and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And usually students generally hide out, which is definitely not the thing that we want them to do.
Well, yes, and one of the things that I would have students who would want to drop and they would say, well, I'm just going to start fresh next semester.
Yeah.
And I always say, what's going to be different?
Exactly.
What is going to be different? What is going to get you out of whatever situation that you're
Correct.
in, if not your education and
Yes.
your degree?
Yes.
Because that is, to me, one of the most
Definitely.
life-changing things that you can do.
And if not that obstacle, something else is going to come up. I mean,
Sure.
this is life that we live in. So if it's not COVID, it's going to be something else going on. It's going
Sure.
to be kids. It's going to be work. It's going to be something else. So why not get a plan now and work through those issues now rather than it happening again next semester and we're back to square one all over again?
I'm just going to say, because, you know, as I said, I'm fascinated by how fast you talk, but sometimes I will wait for you to pause for a breath, and you don't. You just talk, and then stop.
Yeah.
So at this point, I want to say thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. I'm
Thank
going to let you
you.
get back to advising,
Yes.
and because y'all are super busy,
Yes.
but I want you to come back.
Awesome.
I appreciate you.
You too. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
With so much uncertainty in our world, we are thankful for the heart and determination of those who have followed their calling in healthcare. They work tirelessly on the front lines every day to make a true difference in our community. At Meridian Community College, we take pride in training these heroes and are grateful for their service in this time of great need. These Eagles found their wings at Meridian Community College.
On behalf of executive producer Matt Milner, media consultant Josh Taylor, and me, thank you for watching. Look, our students are back. They're going to be a great group this year.